All right, let's get you up to speed with our top focus story. After the first vaccine, which was Covishield, Covaxin was also given an emergency green light, conditional, of course. A huge controversy erupted because Covaxin in particular does not quite have the data to support its credibility in terms of the third phase trial. The latest is that the drug regulator for Covaxin has come out strongly in support of its COVID-19 vaccine, denying allegations. The Hyderabad-based vaccine maker claims that sufficient data has already been revealed and it is available on the net. Dr. Krishna Ella, chairperson of Bharat Biotech, said that Indian companies are being targeted as inferior ones and said his company's work is no less than Pfizer, which also comes out with a vaccine for coronavirus. All of this in the backdrop of experts stating that there is not enough stage 3 trial data for Covaxin to be already given the green light.
So our method is validated by NIV. Pune, please note down that one. It is people questions is wrong what they're spreading the news is on that. Many I don't want it's a very confusing slide, but we put all transparently every data when we submit it to each committee and when we got approval, when we had done the trial, everything is put in the flag. People question, oh, we are not transparent. I don't know what is transparency to me. When I put everything in the black and white like this, people still question transparent because Indian scientists are cheap people. You can throw stones on them on anything you want to. And that is a problem. And I think, people ask, oh, we don't have any data public domain. Public domain it takes. In 6 months, 7 months, when the vaccine going in a fast track clearances, we are also under pressure. And we are the only company published 5 articles. We are no way inferior to Pfizer in terms of publication. All international. Oh, they ask, where is the public domain? It's there in the internet. Somebody has to go and see that, read it, and then come back and ask the questions. They don't read that. And immediately in the TV, they say, oh, it's not in the public domain. They create a doubt and throw stones on the Indian science. It is not appropriate for us. We don't deserve that. Many people just talking about gossiping, everything in a different direction to just backlash on the Indian companies. That is not right for us. We don't deserve that. It is allowed. People are not I don't know why Indian companies always targeted by everybody in the world.
All right, a very angry CMD of Covaxin right there. I want to cut across to my colleague Nolan Pinto, who's joining us live. Milan, in fact, is joining us live with the very latest on this. Milan, what's really interesting is because when you heard the CMD talk, especially in connection of what Dr. Guleria had said, that this Covaxin would be an emergency vaccine used only if need be after Covishield. He said very clearly that this is a vaccine as competent as any other vaccine at this juncture and doctors should mull their words before what they actually say.
Well, that's right, Preeti. In fact, Dr. Krishna Ella, they're making a very compassionate appeal that his is a company that's struggling alone. He's not taking funds from the Gates Foundation. And the government has utmost belief in the company that has been manufacturing vaccines for more than 25 years. Bharat Biotech has made more than 16 vaccines, and whether they are for rotavirus or chikungunya or the Zika virus or for typhoid. But when it comes to the COVID-19 vaccine, many questions have been raised. In fact, he hit out at Dr. Guleria, who said his vaccine is just a backup. He's also hit out on the Serum Institute of India CEO Adar Poonawalla, who called his vaccine as safe as the water we drink. So Dr. Krishna Ella, they're really making a compassionate appeal that the media must also question the vaccines that have come from outside the country. He raised questions on the Oxford vaccine, where he says that about 60 to 70% adverse effects have happened in Oxford vaccine. While Covaxin has only seen about 10% adverse events, they have also not been of the serious nature. We asked him from India Today about the efficacy data. He has said that by February or March, they'll have the efficacy data of the vaccine as well. Before that, they are unwilling to unbind the trials. Till such time, the second dose of the vaccine is given. The trials, Preeti, shall be completed in the next 2 to 3 days. That's what we've heard from the CMD of Bharat Biotech. But clearly hitting out at all the critics, whether it's another pharma company, whether it's doctors, or whether it's MP Shashi Tharoor, who said that they've got a premature approval. He said that we do not have a premature approval, and according to the guidelines of the CDSCO, we have got the approval based on the data that they have submitted for phase 1 and 2. So there you go. I mean, Bharat Biotech's Covaxin being criticized left, right, and center just for being an Indian vaccine is what he was telling us.
Appreciate you joining us, Milan. We're going to continue coming back to you for the very latest updates on that story, because there's bound to be apprehensions, there's bound to be politics. Many would suggest that maybe the government should have waited until March to give the green light or clear Bharat Biotech's Covaxin, because that is when concrete numbers of phase 3 trials would be out. With that, I want to quickly shift focus to the other big story that we're tracking very closely. And that story, viewers, comes in from the state of Tamil Nadu. The latest there, a lot of controversy, primarily due to COVID restrictions. Theatres were open only with 50% seating capacity, but now the Tamil Nadu government has decided to open cinema halls to full 100% capacity. Now, the state government's decision to open full capacity comes after superstar Vijay met with Chief Minister Edappadi Palaniswamy. The meeting took place on the 27th December. A slew of Tamil movies are all set to release around Pongal. Congress MP, meanwhile, Karthi Chidambaram, has hit out at the AIDMK, saying that this is politics of appeasement.
To allow theatres to function with full capacity is baffling. When the whole world is still grappling with this pandemic and masks and social distancing are still the norm, for the government to allow theatres goes against all medical advice. And theatre seats are in close proximity of each other. Multitude of people from various areas congregate in a movie theatre. And movie theatres, particularly during the Pongal week, could easily become a super spreader. So I am completely baffled, and I'm not too sure how the health secretary, who is a reasonably sensible man, has even acceded to this. So it's obviously under pressure from some special interest groups who are banking on some major releases during the Pongal, which is normal. But to the government to give in to them is not acceptable.
This kind of a situation we never faced. Last 1 year we have struggling actually. We have closed. No movies were released. We have lost a lot of money. We have to maintain certain things for a month also. So every month we have struggled. But at last the government has given 100% permission, accommodation permission. We thank our Chief Minister for giving this valuable permission, which is most essential right now in the film industry.
All right, let's move on to the very latest. It was the 8th round of talks. It's the 38th day of protest. And these 8th round of talks between the government and the farmers have ended inconclusively. There's been no breakthrough. The agitation will now continue. Sources did reveal that the MSP continues to be the main flashpoint, and discussions over guarantee for MSP will be taken forward. Sources further added that during the talks, farmers were adamant on their demand to roll back the 3 laws and rejected government's proposal to form a joint committee to reach common ground. The next round of talks now will be scheduled at 2 p.m. on the 8th of January. After the meeting, Union Minister Narendra Singh Tomar said that the centre is for a clause-by-clause discussion, adding that the talks will soon yield results. Meanwhile, in the last round of talks held on 30th December, agreement was reached on 2 demands that the farmers had put forth. However, their main sticking point on MSP and the laws being repealed continues.
जो 3 कानूनों के बारे में चर्चा चलती है, उस पर लोग चाहते थे कि यूनियन क्लॉज वाइज चर्चा करें, जिससे कि उसमें से रास्ता निकालने में आगे बढ़ सके। इसी पर बात चलती रही। थोड़ा बहुत बात एमएसपी पर भी हुई, लेकिन आज हम कोई निर्णय तक नहीं पहुंच सके, और इसलिए यूनियन और सरकार दोनों ने मिलकर तय किया कि 8 तारीख को पुनः 2 बजे बैठेंगे और इस चर्चा को आगे बढ़ाएंगे।
बातचीत हुई और 3 कानून पर बातचीत हुई। हाँ, और उसके बाद में नहीं कोई सहमति बन पाई और किसानों ने स्पष्ट कहा और एक सुर में कहा कि कानून वापसी से पहले कोई समझौता नहीं है।
ठीक है।
सरकार
का क्या रुख है? पिछली बार जो मीटिंग हुई थी उसमें आप लोगों ने साफ कह दिया था कि 3 काले कानून जो आप लोग कहते हैं उनको वापस लेने पे बातचीत होगी और एमएसपी पे बात। इन दोनों मुद्दों पे क्या बात हुई?
एमएसपी पे आज नहीं चर्चा करी, उसी दिन एमएसपी पे भी चर्चा होगी। आज पूर्ण रूप से इसी पे ही हुई।
Outcome of the meeting is government is under tremendous pressure. We all forcefully, unitedly said that it is our proposal. We cannot change, and it is not 40 organization, 450 organization. They every day meet and decide. It is even they are from all over India. So it is united decision. Nobody can change it. We do not want to any other discussion except repealing of the act. So government understood it, and they so you understood it. Then we will discuss it, and we will come on 8th January to finalize. So first will be discussed on repealing, then MSP issue also taken up. All protest, no protest program will be withdrawn. Till finalization is there, no protest program will be withdrawn.
What was the scene like inside? Because last time in the meeting we saw that there was a lot of bonhomie. You had lunch also together, but this time it looks like it was a deadlock situation.
No, it's not. If there would have been a lockdown, deadlock, then there would have no meeting on 8th. Number one. Number two, there were discussions, and the farmers' leaders and negotiators, they told them clearly that without the repealing of the laws, we are not going ahead to discuss the other things. So we very clearly told them that we have no alternative. We are not going to discuss any other, some amendments in the laws. We are for the repealing of the laws, and we, all the 40 leaders who are sitting here, we represent more than 475 organizations of India, and all those 475 organizations are for the repeal of these 3 laws.
देखो, जब हम बस से आए थे, ये मीडिया वाले आपके साथी हैं, उनको बता के गए थे कि इस मीटिंग से कुछ नहीं सिद्धांत निकलेगा। ये जो है सरकार, कारपोरेटों की सरकार है, बड़े सरमाएदारों की सरकार है, साम्राज्यों की सरकार है। इनके हाथ में कुछ नहीं मानने वाला। आप क्या कह रहे हैं?
बिल्कुल, ये लोगों की सरकार नहीं जी। ये उन्होंने कुछ करना हुआ, जब उनसे पूछेंगे, ये अंबानी से पूछेंगे या अडानी से पूछेंगे।
जब सत्ता से बाहर होते हैं, तो लोगों की बात करते हैं, जब सत्ता में होते हैं तो सरमाएदारों की बात करते हैं।
Colleague Kamaljeet Sandhu, who joins us from Vigyan Bhavan, where the meeting's just about concluded 20 minutes ago. Kamal, you've been speaking to the various farm union heads. What is it that you're picking up? Are they actually looking forward to the talks on the 8th of January? Do they see any ground being broken? Because they are pretty much sticking to their demands of total repeal of all 3 laws.
As Delhi reels under cold vibes being exchanged between the farmers as well as the government, with the latter making it very clear that they're not willing to take back the farm laws. Now, this is something which is of a deadlock. Preeti, the farmers are very adamant. They're very clear, especially about these 2 sticky points, which is the MSP and the farm bills. And once the government made it very clear, there was disappointment written large over the faces of the farmers, who then did not really share much. They have now agreed to meet the government again on the 8th, but it does seem that a legal remedy or perhaps a Supreme Court intervention looks very likely now, since there is no change in stance of positions of both the government and the farmers. Remember, these are the 2 points which are going to be discussed yet again, the 9th round of talks. Now, the farmers who've been at the borders are coming in time again. It's inclement weather, it's cold, yet they're fighting it out, and they want to be adamant on their points. And they're saying, we are willing to give up our life, but we are not willing to give up our position on these particular farm bills. The government, on the other hand, has been looking for a middle ground. Now, they thought that perhaps conceding to 2 of the points, which is the stubble burning and the electricity bit, they may win the confidence of the farmers, but that has not happened. The main reason and the main issue still remains the 3 farm bills. Government agreeing only for amendment, the farmers wanting a repeal, and that is why a stalemate continues. Perhaps Supreme Court now, the legal remedy is something that, and a committee, many in the opposition who have sided with the farmers are saying, this is what we said all along, send it to a select committee. Now that the government has pushed through and brazened it out, this is the result now that the farmers have been sitting out. And remember, 26 January is the time. Republic Day will be a symbolic day for all the farmers who say they will intensify beyond tractors and have a symbolic fight against the government of India. This is the biggest crisis for the Modi government in the recent years. The CAA we saw...
Kamal, can you very quickly tell us right now that will the planned agitation till the 8th of January, the farmers had decided that they're going to escalate the agitation. Will it continue or is it on hold?
There is no way that the farmers are going to back off. The agitation will continue and they've already chalked out the plan for the next few days. The biggest agitation will be on January 26, which is the Republic Day, as I mentioned to you, where tractors will be out and farmers carrying tricolour flag will be out there taking down the Modi government. But for now, they want that the government should concede to their demands, which doesn't seem to be happening.
Appreciate you joining us. Thank you. So the next date is the January 8th, 2 p.m. That would be, viewers, the 9th round of talks. Till now, the situation is pretty much the same, both sides digging in their heels. But the agitation will continue. Mind you, it's already day 38. Let's now quickly shift focus to the other big story that we're tracking very closely, and it comes in of 4 comedians from the state of Madhya Pradesh who've been arrested. They were charged for making fun of Hindu deities. But having said that, the police has now said that there is no evidence to actually prove that they did make fun of the Hindu deities. This is how it all unfolded. Take a look.
It has been 3 days since comedian Munawwar Farooqi and 4 others were arrested for allegedly hurting religious feelings. The arrest came after the Hindu Rakshak Sangathan, a right-wing group, disrupted Farooqi's event in Indore, accusing him of disrespecting Hindu deities and taking pot shots at Union Home Minister Amit Shah.
जब हमको जानकारी मिली थी तो मैं और कुछ कार्यकर्ता हम लोग उस शो का टिकट खरीद के हम उस शो में पहुंचे थे और जो हम सोच कर रहे थे वही सब चीज़ें वहाँ हो रही थी। वहाँ पर फिर हमने शो रुकवा करके सारी ऑडियंस को बाहर निकाल करके और वो जो भी ऑर्गेनाइज़र थे और जो कॉमेडियन थे उनको पकड़ करके हम थाने ले आए।
While the police have taken Farooqi and the organizers into custody, the investigators admit they are yet to get evidence of the comedian making disparaging comments on deities at the Indore event.
अभी उसका परीक्षण वीडियो का परीक्षण किया जा रहा है क्योंकि इसमें स्पष्ट नहीं आ रहा था तो हम उस पर दिखवा रहे हैं कि
The probe is also focusing on the other charges like violation of social distancing.
इनका आपत्ति ये है कि एक तो अनुमति नहीं ली गई थी, 18 साल से कम के बच्चे भी उसमें थे और कुछ विशेष समाज के जो देवी देवताओं के प्रति आपत्तिजनक टिप्पणी भी की गई थी, जिसका हम वीडियो देख के परीक्षण कर रहे हैं कि क्या उसमें बच्चे भी नाबालिग थे तो उसमें थे और क्या टिप्पणी की गई, उस पर हम आवेदन लेके और उस पर कड़ी कार्रवाई करेंगे।
The arrest has sparked a big row. Comic artists are standing up in support of Farooqi, who hails from Gujarat. They have condemned Farooqi's arrest and demanded his release.
Tukoji police station has now said that he has not found any evidence against stand-up comedian Munawwar Farooqi and his associates who were booked on January 2 in Indore for allegedly saying malicious things about Hindu gods and goddesses. His seniors, however, continue to maintain that there was sufficient evidence against the comedian and are also saying that he had not taken permission for the event and also social distancing norms were being violated. With Vijay Irshad Khan in Bhopal, Hemendra Sharma for India Today.
All right, shifting focus now to the curious case of a missing billionaire. We're talking about Jack Ma, the founder of Alibaba Group in China. Days after he criticized China's state-regulated banks in a speech, he went missing, and he's now been missing for 2 months nearly. He is Asia's richest man, and he has not been spotted for 2 full months. Soon after his remarks against the Chinese regulator, Alibaba's planned IPO was quashed. Later, investigations into monopolistic practices of Alibaba was launched, and finally the firm was ordered to scale back financial technology platforms operations of Ant Groups. This led to Jack Ma losing 11 billion of his own fortune, and while Alibaba has reportedly lost about 17% of its market value. All right, let's now quickly shift focus to the other big developing story that we're tracking, this coming in from the United States of America. Well, Donald Trump, the former president, of course, picked up the phone line, and there is evidence of that to suggest that he, in fact, spoke to Georgia's Secretary of State to find enough votes to overturn his election defeat. Trump is accused of pressurizing his fellow Republican to declare that he's won more votes than Biden. Trump had accused Brad Raffensperger to find 11,780 votes. Remember, Biden won Georgia, a long Republican-leaning state, by 11,779 votes. Biden won the November 3rd U.S. president polls by a margin of 306 to 232. He's all set to officially now take over as new U.S. president on January 20th. Till now, he's president-elect.
All I want to do is this. I just want to find 11,780 votes, which is one more than we have, because we won the state.
Welcome back. You're watching our Fact Check segment, the segment where we bust certain claims masquerading to be facts on social media platforms and WhatsApp groups. Now, there was a message, you might have seen it on very many WhatsApp groups, suggesting that the state of Kerala has banned Jio services where internet is concerned. Well, this claim has been denied both by Jio and the state of Kerala. With that quick fact check, it's time for us to wrap up this edition of 7 at 7. But do stay tuned. Up next is To The Point. Hi everyone, Preeti Chaudhary here. Hope you like this video. For latest news and analysis, like and subscribe to the India Today YouTube channel. And don't forget to press the bell icon to stay updated. Thank you for watching.